Some of the most shocking crimes in India don't happen outside. They happen inside homes. Spaces we assume are safe, familiar, predictable. Places where doors are locked, but trust is left open. But inside many of these homes, something else exists. Two completely different worlds living under the same roof. One of comfort, control, stability. The other of dependence, limited choices, survival. They see each other every day. They interact, they function together, but they don't live the same life. And most of the time, this arrangement works. It runs quietly in the background of urban India. But sometimes, that invisible gap between these worlds doesn't stay invisible. It starts to build. In South Delhi's east of Kailash, inside the home of a senior IRS officer, a young woman was found dead. A case that shocked the city because of where it happened and because of who was involved. The accused, not a stranger, not someone breaking in, a former domestic help, someone who had been inside that house before, someone who understood its rhythm, the layout, the routine, the access. According to investigators, he entered the house, attacked the victim, and even tried to open a locker using her fingerprint. That detail alone changes how we see the crime. Because this wasn't just violence, it was familiarity turning dangerous. It wasn't forced entry, it was known entry. And that's what makes cases like this feel different. Not just because of what happened, but because of how easily it could happen. And that's where this stops being just one case. Because if you look closely, this isn't new. Across cities, Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, there have been repeated incidents over the years where current or former domestic workers, drivers or guards have been involved in serious crimes. Not always the same story, not always the same motive, but the same structure, access, proximity, familiarity. Even in the 2008 Noida double murder case, one of India's most high-profile investigations, early suspicion quickly turned toward the domestic help. Why? Because when something goes wrong inside a home, the first instinct is to look at the closest outsider within. That doesn't make every suspicion right, but it reveals something deeper, a tension that already exists, unspoken, unresolved. Different cases, different outcomes, but the same underlying pattern keeps appearing. Because inside many Indian homes, there is a system that no one really defines, but everyone understands. People share space, but not reality. Trust exists, but it's informal. Access exists, but without structure. Interaction is constant, but equality is absent. And over time, this constant overlap creates something subtle. Friction. Not loud, not obvious, but present. In expectations, in money, in perception, in silence. Most of the time, nothing happens. The system holds. But sometimes, a moment shifts. A demand is made. A boundary is crossed. And that friction turns into something irreversible. This isn't about one person. It's not about one profession. And it's not about reducing people to categories. It's about understanding a structure where inequality exists inside intimacy. Where two worlds don't just coexist, they overlap every single day. And when that overlap has no balance, the distance between them doesn't disappear. It builds, quietly, until one day it shows.